Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the CyberGizmo, I'm going to be looking at Deepin 20 right after this. I wanted to look at Deepin 20 today because it is kind of a unique Linux distro, and so I wanted to dig in it a little bit, take a look at it, kick the tires on it. But unfortunately, because of the state that my studio is in, I'm missing a couple of critical pieces that I need in order to get the NUC back online, and I'm waiting for those to come sometime this week. So hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be back to doing the videos on hardware. So I apologize for that, but that's just where I'm at. So Deepin is a Linux, this is a quote from their website. Deepin is a Linux distribution that's devoted to providing beautiful, easy to use, safe, and reliable operating systems for global users. It is based on Debian 10.5 and it supports dual kernels. One of the kernels that by default is 5.4 LTS, and you can, on the advanced options of the install, from the boot screen, you can select 5.7 if you wish. But Debian forming the core of that allows you to either use the LTS kernel or the most stable version of the kernel. But Deepin provides a unified design style for a unique and a modern look, and it certainly is that, as you'll see today. But it provides a lot. I mean, if you go out to the website, there is a list that's a mile long of things that they've added and things that have been improved in Deepin 20. With just a few highlights, there is a new launcher. It has the latest pre-installed applications, except for one, and we'll talk about that when we get there. It also provides enhanced fingerprint support if you wish to use that. I don't have a fingerprint reader available on any of these systems in here to be able to test that with. And it also provides additional system security. So, yeah, there's several things that you can do here, and there is a personalized notification management system that anytime that there's a completion message or maybe there's a warning or a critical bug and it flashes up an error message, it'll send you a notification. And their notification management is kind of reminiscent of Mac OS a little bit. In the way that it pushes it off to the right. It'll first give you kind of a flash to the top middle of the screen, and then it'll put it in the notification window that you can look at your leisure and click them off and remove them one at a time or sweep them all out at once. But it does provide an improved installer, and that allows the user to choose between a manual or automatic install. The automatic, I don't know if the manual version, I haven't tested this with an NVIDIA graphics card yet, so I don't know which side of it it's on. I mean, the manual install is just to do your own partitioning, and then I assume that once you've done that, it follows its normal progression of installing packages. So, but if it does detect an NVIDIA graphics card, it'll ask you if you want to install the proprietary drivers, which I would assume you probably would. System requirements are an Intel Pentium 4, 2 gigahertz or higher. Memory, more than 2 gig of RAM, 4 gig is recommended, as most of the time, as we talk about those, the graphical user interfaces in Linux require at least 4 gig. If you want to do anything with it, the disk will take, they say 25 gigabytes of free disk space. However, I noticed on the install, and I'll show you that when we do that today on the 1.4. I guess we'll do this on a virtual machine, and then I'll put it as 25 gig to start with, and I'll show you the error message you get when you try to do that. But yeah, so let's flip over and do an install. Let me just minimize this for a moment, and we'll come over here and do my usual thing with Zen. So what I'm going to do is I'll create a virtual machine, and we'll call it Deepin. No, nothing in the resource pools. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do NAS. Get the, it's right there. That's it? No, that's not it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I got two of them out there. Yeah, default. Now, I'm gonna. Well, here we'll just try it with 25 gig. All right. I'll just come back when it fails because it will. Okay, all done. Just wait for it to create. There we go. We'll go ahead and there we go. We'll go ahead and start that, and then we'll open the console. So right here, you'll see, now I've only got a few seconds before it's automatically going to start, but the default is 5.4. If you want this 5.7 kernel, all you do is take the advanced options. So, whoops. So, yeah, you can take the advanced. Let's go ahead and do the 5.7. And then it should start up. And I'll go ahead and scale this up a bit. So I'll make it a little easier for you to see. Okay, so right away I need to change my language to English. And I'll go ahead and select these. And right now it's going to do a check on the hard drive. And it's going to say, all right, so you're trying to install this on a virtual machine that may result in suboptimal performance, right? So, all right, we're going to try this. I'm not going to encrypt it, and it should say no. You need at least 64 gig of disk space to install Deepin. So, yeah, end of the road. So we'll just go ahead and abort this, and it should shut down. And we'll go ahead and fix that drive. There we go. Edit. Now I can't do much about this, but I can get rid of it. And I can add a new one. And we'll make this one 64. And we'll tell it to put it on crucial. Okay. And that one we can detach it or delete it. Yep. All right. So, no, that's the wrong one. Let's try it. Let's do that again. Okay. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Let's go ahead and start it. Go ahead and set up our console. We will have to go and select our advanced option again. Let me scale this up. There we go. And we'll go ahead and select that. Give it a minute. There we go. Select our language, English. Now it should be able, yeah, I know, thanks. So now we should be able to select it. So it's gonna partition with about a 2 gig boot. Looks like about a root partition around 15 gig, and then an ext4, and then a root B, another 15 gig. So there's a recovery mode and a backup mode. So yeah, it's going to store a couple extra things here. And then, so your data is about 15 gig, your recovery is about 11 gig, and there's a swap of 6 gig, which, yeah, that should be more than enough, I would think. And we're ready to install it. So we'll go ahead and let that go. I'm going to go ahead and pause it here. This will probably take about 5 minutes, I'm guessing. So it's, yeah, we'll just come back when it's done. Okay, it's all done. So I'm going to have to, I can reboot this, but what I really need to do, well, I guess I'll go ahead and do that. But I really need, oh, it's fine. On some systems, like on my hardware when I was doing this earlier, it actually went back into the installer again. So, but that is right. I mean, that's right. That's exactly right. So it's asking me for my keyboard, and yes, that's correct. I'll look on the map for, well, not Thunder Bay. I'm not quite up that far. Chicago. That's a nice little thing where you don't have to be exactly on it. Wants me to create a username, I guess. I'll select an icon. And there we go. And it's asking me to set up my Ethernet network, which is fine. DHCP is fine. And then it'll spend a few minutes here tuning the system, I guess. But I think all it's really doing is writing out configuration files, just to make sure that your network is set up and you've got your user directory and all that stuff done. That's probably all it is really doing. And the next thing, it should take us to the desktop. Just log back in. I'll pause here, although I think it's probably going to be pretty quick. And there we go. So I'm ready to sign back in. So yeah, I'll turn off all the fancy effects and go to that mode. The first thing it comes up with is a kind of an introductory video that you can go through and, you know, kind of get familiar with what the system and its capabilities are. And the next thing after that would be to choose how you wanted the look of your system. So you have this is the fashion mode here, and then you have a more kind of a windowish type of look with the efficient mode. Which way you decide to go. I'm going to do the fashion mode, and we'll stay with normal for now. I might try to switch this back and see what happens. And then you have some choices as to which icon set you want to use. Now, there's certainly more than this. And when you bring up the system tool later, you'll see that there's more options you can pick, but this is the ones you have to pick from at this stage. I'm going to go ahead and select those, because eventually I will set this over to a dark frame. And I think at this point we are done, except I want to set up my display settings. And I'm going to set it to that. And then we'll just kind of drag this over. There we go. That's a little better. At least it's got a little bit more screen real estate. This is this icon down here, the control center. So in here, let's just start up at the top. You can set your accounts up. You can add users. You can change their password or delete them. You know, that kind of thing. This one, the Deepin ID, isn't used in any other countries outside of China. This allows them to access their cloud. And at the moment, they don't allow external countries in. So that won't be for us. And then of course the display, and then you can select how bright you want the screen. You can, now this particular virtual machine doesn't have this, but it does support it on the NUC, and it'll come up and allow you to zoom in or zoom out of the screen. And then your refresh rate, and whether or not you have a touchscreen. In my case, it's that. This is something I kind of wish a lot of the other distributions would do, and allow us to go in and change the default application for these. Now, there's only one browser installed. I'll try to put Brave up, and then I'll come back in here and we'll see what happens. And then you can select. Now, there's one with two, so I can use my default. I'm going to make that the text editor. So I already got my answer. Yeah, that's fine. And then the terminal, there's only one. So personalization, this is allowing me to go ahead and set my theme. I'm going to go ahead. Now, this would be for night and day. Nighttime hours would, of course, flip to dark. And daytime hours would, if it's all dark, then it's always dark. So this is a global setting. There are settings even up here within the application that you can select the theme for just the app. So if I want the control center to have a different look than the global, I can do that. I can override it. Access color, I'm going to pick that. And then window effects are off at the moment. So yeah, like I said, there's a number of themes that you can choose from here. Just a few more. Papyrus. I kind of like the papyrus look, so I'm going to go with that. Cursor, if you want to go back to a more traditional look, you can do that. Or if you want to use the Bloom one, you can stick with that as well. What font you would like to have as your default, and that's fine. My network settings. VPN choices, not a whole lot here. L2TP, which of course is an old one. PPTP, VPNC, OpenVPN, Strong Swan, and OpenConnect. So yeah, not bad. System proxy if you have that. Application proxy if you have that. And then my network details. This is the notification system where you can turn it off. So if you're in the middle of a game or something and you don't want to be disturbed, you don't have a notification pop up, you can turn it off. Or you can, it shows up right here on the bell icon down here. So yeah, and it also will appear, the notifications will appear up here. You'll see that as we go through. These are the apps that that can fire off notifications, and you can disable those if you like as well. The sound system, microphone, advanced, not much there, and sound effects if you want to change your boot up sound. Date and time, power settings, yeah, and then what happens when it's plugged in. Now this is not a laptop, this is on a VM, but you know, it wouldn't probably, in my case, it probably wouldn't have much of an effect. So yeah, the keyboard. And then update. Ooh, we have a failure here. Okay. Let's see if I can find a terminal. Yes, I am going to dive into the terminal. I was going to try to stay out of it, but you know, it's kind of hard for me to do that. So let me get this bumped up a bit. And maybe not that far. All right. Let's find out what's going on. Why that's failing. We have a repository that is offline, or it's missing the directory. So we can fix that. Let's see if it's in the sources. Two places to always look: sources.list. Nope, not in there. Or sources.d, list.d. And I'll bet it's the one called printer. Oops, I better do a sudo. Okay. And we'll just comment that guy right out. All right, and we'll try to check again and see if this time it goes through. Might as well do the updates while we're here. Yep, now it works. Yeah, we'll go ahead and install the updates, I guess. Backing up. So this has a recovery mode. Interesting. Kind of a fail-safe that allows you to back out changes that because of an update. That it happens occasionally that an update will prevent your system from running correctly. Maybe it stops one of your favorite applications to run, but looks like this allows me a way to get back to a state before the update. I'll pause this again until that's done. Okay, so it's waiting for me to reboot. I'm not going to do that just yet. We'll go through some more stuff here, and then we'll reboot it. So okay, so this is our information about the system. We're on the 5.7.7 kernel. I don't know what it'll be after the update. We'll check that. GNU General Public License version 3. Wow. So this is the version that the Linux Foundation wouldn't take for the Linux kernel because it just went too far. Apparently, Deepin doesn't have a problem with it. And yeah, it's a pretty long and boring. But yeah, if you read this thing, it's typical Richard Stallman prose, just goes on forever. Anyway, that's what it is. I have not seen anything use GPL version 3. This is the first time. So I guess it's the first time for everything. And then the EULA for this. I'll probably read this later. See if I have to go mow their lawn, during the summer as part of it. General settings, you can set a startup delay. You can turn the theme on or off in this background. And the user experience program, nah, I don't think so. So yeah, let's go ahead and give it what it wants. By the way, we probably have something in the control center because I noticed the message popped up while it was updating that the package caches have been wiped. Now I can erase just that individual message. If there was a lot of them, I can do a sweep to sweep them all out. I'm just going to leave it there for now. That's fine. And we'll go ahead and restart. The nice thing about this is, okay, so wait a minute. So I have a rollback. There's my rollback. So that's nice. Yeah, it's nice. So if you run into a problem with the release upgrade, you can roll back to what it was before. Some of the more advanced operating systems in Linux have that feature, but they implement it a little bit differently. Let's log back in. Okay, so I guess the best place to start is, well, let's do this. So I don't want this to get too far out of hand before, let's see what top says it is, before we start running a bunch of stuff. So 393.7 megabyte of memory in use. Pretty small, not bad. I'll go ahead and do htop, neofetch, get. .401 is what it shows. 87 tasks running, 276 threads. Thread count is pretty high. It's a lot higher than I'm used to seeing, but maybe that's just the way their applications are written. Doesn't mean anything. It's not taking up a whole lot of memory, so I'm not really too worried about it. Let's see if they give a count of the number of packages. 1,636. Now that's Debian packages equivalent. Just remember though that they're rewriting a lot of the stuff. I mean, there's some standard Debian stuff here, but there's a lot of things that are done by the Deepin team as well. So let's go through it here. Firefox, the extended service release or support release. Now let's see what version it is. Oh my, that's old, 60.8. So this one, sometimes if you get into heavy JavaScript sites, will just fold up and crash. So yeah, anyway, at least that's my memory of it. I'm not going to tempt fate. Let's take a look at the file manager. Oh, that's nice. So it's showing me how much available space I have using a bar on each of the drives. So for the system disk, now that's a partition within that 64 gig partition. Remember I said it was 15 gig, it's using 5. Not bad. And the data disk is not using much at all. And then I have my directories for my home directory. And then, of course, the ISO is still plugged in and it's showing up as well. These are just going to go through, you know, it's just reiterating. There's the desktop folder, the video folder, and it looks like there's one in it and it's locked. Interesting. That one's locked. Wallpapers, documents, downloads, computer. We did that. System disk. A lock indicates you don't have permission to open it. And this means that it is a soft link or a link to another place on the system. So in other words, this bin directory is being redirected somewhere else, which you can do that under Linux. So yeah, I noticed that earlier when I was looking at this, Samba is running. So it's going to be looking for Windows networks. I'm not sure what happens if you put up NFS, whether or not those show up. I guess we could try that experiment. Also, let's see. Let's see if this, I doubt this is installed. Oops. Always leave off DR. Well, at least I'm consistent. It is installed. So, okay. So let's see what happens here. Let's let it refresh. Nope. So it's only gonna look at, it's only gonna be able, I don't have any Windows servers up. I don't run Samba. So just a personal preference, no complaint about it, just I don't use it. Okay, so that's the file manager. App Store. This should be interesting. Looks like it's in Chinese. Well, not completely. Some of the apps are, some of them are not. Chrome. This is the ranking. Oh, this is the home page, and this is hot apps, and these are the ranked ones, which I suppose it's based on the number of times people download it. So there is a version of Firefox Quantum. Let's see what we got here in the rankings. Completely. Yeah, there's quite a bit of it is in English. There's Etcher. I wonder if it tells you what kind of, is it a package? Because normally Etcher is an app image. Doesn't really say, does it? Okay. Let's try another one. Yeah, I apologize for the system being sluggish. That's just, they did warn you it was going to be slow. This really prefers to run on hardware. And unfortunately, again, I apologize. I wanted to run this on hardware, but I'm not ready yet. I'm just not ready. I've been switching over my studio, and I'm just not quite there yet. Almost there. I have some of it up and running. Let's see. Let's try. Well, you got some in here that are proprietary. There's one that isn't. Let's see what we get here. We'll go ahead and install it. I'll go ahead and look at it while it installs. It doesn't really tell you if it's a package or not. But we can check. Well, it was way too quick to be an app image, I'll tell you that. So I can add an account. I don't have any. I'm not a big social media guy, so let's take a look at some of the others. I suppose these ones that are, well, that's wine. Probably a Chinese version of wine. There's Pulse Audio. Let's look at Office here. Now, LibreOffice should be installed by default. Wait a minute. Why is it saying to install it? Let's see what's going on here. Why are you doing that? Okay, well, let's just go to this one. Let's see what version. This is old, I can tell you that right now, just by the, yep, 6152. That's Debian's version. Debian Vintage. All right, so what, is this a newer version? Yep. 6442-3. So let's see if we can install over top of the old one. Not sure if this will work. We'll try it. I'll try anything once. And since I got the safety net where I can back out, we may be testing that today too. Hey, if you're not breaking things, you're not doing it right. You're doing it wrong. If you're not breaking things, you're doing it wrong. No, it's not that easy to break Linux unless you're doing something new that has never been tested before. Then you probably could. All right, so let's open this up. Oh, yeah, we got to update this stuff. All right, well, I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll save, I guess. Oh, we don't have a Java runtime. All right. Well, you just sit there for a second and I'll go get you one. Is that right? JRE. I think that's it. No. Oh, I forgot the version number. Yeah. Okay. They don't have 12. I wonder why. All right, go. I didn't bother to look to see if Synaptics is up. I just installed it this way. All right, so let's see, Java version. Okay, there's my test. If it's working, that comes back. So I'm done with my test. So let's see if this will open now. And we can go ahead and create my database. Well, that's a good sign. That's the old one. Go. All right. It's up. No errors. Okay. So now the question is, what version do I get now? Well, I can already tell you this is 6.4. Yeah, this is 6.4. I don't need to go any further with that. Oh, this thing is in the way, of course. All right. Yep, 6.4. So we updated it. That's good. I don't know if they'll come out with 7, but I imagine at some point they will. So even though we had to stop and do an interim install to get a Java package out there for the database, I'm just going to go through some of these. Development tools. I saw Adam up on the, well, there's Sublime. Android Studio. Yeah. System tools. Probably a ton of stuff in here. That was, Stacer was one of the utilities that was in Kodachi Linux. It allows you to monitor your system. Remember that? It comes back with these nice graphs and shows you what's going on with your system. So, yeah, Kodachi uses that one. We'll see what they're doing first before we replace it with something else. We'll see we'll see what we're doing here. So download updates, we don't have any. And my apps, none. I'm sure of that because I haven't added any yet. All right, so package installer. Let's look at that. Oh, it's something like GW. So if you have a .debian file, you can just drag it in here and install it. It's kind of like Eddy. Yeah, it's kind of like Eddy. Okay. Partition Editor. We'll have to authenticate because this is a root function. Gparted. So they have, it looks like some of these utilities are being updated by them, and of course some of them are not. Font Manager, Archive Manager, and then this is how you get back to that welcome screen if you want to change your desktop configuration around again, back to the way it was talking about. So now Papyrus is showing up there. But the other Bloom, yeah, I guess it's going to show me the dark ones. That's fine. User feedback. I bet this goes out to forums. Eek. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. You can translate it. Somewhat. Let's see if I can, what's in here. This is red, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed in here or not. Oh yeah. But it switched me back to Chinese. Why didn't you stay on English? Oh, it bounced me. Wait, that's not right. Let's try one of the... Okay, now that stayed in English, but it didn't translate the page. A little bit of it did. Okay. Well, that's not going to be much help to me. Might be for you. LibreOffice, we kind of touched on that. We kind of touched on that and that. And and then of course then we have this. So there should be a keyboard map somewhere. Let's go look at that. It's probably that. Okay. So I can call it Control-Alt-T to bring up a terminal. Quake, which would be a drop down. Alt F2. Let's try that. Run a command. Oh, now it's asking me for one. Do I have to have the terminal up first? Alt F2. Command not found. Do I have to have it running before I can do that? Huh, weird. I know that this worked on the hardware. This could be something going on with the virtual machine because it just dropped it down. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here. So this one, of course, is a tabbed editor. Let's see what other keys we have. Delay screenshot, full screenshot, window screenshot, recorder. Okay. I know there's more than this. But I don't see them. Okay. I got a couple things I want to do. Let's see if I miss it. Show desktop. Forgot to do this. Oh no. So I think this is a little bit like Solus. And how yeah. Yeah, it's too early to think about that cold. That's nice. I'll keep that one. Okay. And then File Manager, App Store, Album, Music, Calendar. Oh, let's look at that. Let's see what we got here. So I can create an event. One hour, remind, 15 minutes before, never save. So now the question is, can I export this? Doesn't look like it. Let's try it. Well, there's no way to save it either, apparently. It does it automatically. So can I export it? Now I can edit and delete it. And get a monthly, a weekly view, yearly view. Well, poo. I have a suggestion for this. You need to export this to your phone. That's kind of what you need to do, I think. All right, so I'm going to go get RK Hunter. Okay. The reason I run RK Hunter is twofold. One, there are rootkits that exist, and I thought it was funny. I think it was about a month ago, there was a comment on one of my videos that said, there aren't any rootkits for Linux, and just 2 days later, there were 2 of them that were announced. So that was kind of funny. I didn't have to answer it. Yes, there are. Yes, there are. I've only known of a couple. But yeah, there are. See if I got it. I don't think so. Try again. Here's the, oh, Slow down. Okay. Let's just run it. I'm going to do an update on the rules first. Most of these are Windows rootkits, but there are a few of them in there that are. There are some viruses for Linux too. Not any one that I know of that's current. And having said that, I'll probably read about it tomorrow that 3 more were found. But so we had some findings. Now, typically what I do is I'll just bring it up in an editor and then I'll search for Warren. And this is normal. They're prerequisites. It means that there is a signature file that's run. It's created when you do a prop update, PROPUPD. When you do that, it creates a signature file of all the applications that it checks up front. So there's this list that it looks through to see if they've been replaced by scripts, which would be an indication that somebody has tampered with the system. However, a lot of the Linux distributions are changing over to script-based on some of the utilities, so you'll get that. If it's spots that it's running under a bash script, it's going to freak out. So this is just saying, yeah, this is still tied back to the other one. And then this was one of the ones that's been replaced by a script. Add user, that's normal. And then, yeah, egrep, fgrep, LDD, which LWP request, that's all normal. Root access is allowed. Yeah, we need to change some of our permission script. I always think this is funny. Linux comes configured by default with version 1 SSH protocol on. Don't run SSH with protocol 1 on. It's cracked. I'm telling you, it's cracked. You can decrypt the messages. It's very easy. So it should be V2. So I don't know why this is still a thing. They have a default configuration. Why doesn't the package maintainers change it to version 2? Version 1 has been obsolete at least for 3 years that I know of, maybe 4. It's been a long time. So I don't know why that is still a thing, but I'll get off my high horse. So we have a suspicious data type in dev, sem, cache _sem. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe do a little research and we'll find out. Java, of course, yeah. Java always drops a config file in, and then that's it. So not a big deal. And the other one I want to run, let's make sure that git got installed. Did. I need to be sudo. Is Linux. Oops, I did that already, except I didn't do it with that. OFY. Try again. There we go. Let's just see where we stand. Yeah, I'm sure that the OS, oh, good. They're asking you to report it to their GitHub page because they're missing this. They're missing Deepin as a valid distribution. Whoa, I just saw a whole bunch of red go by. We will check that. We'll find out what's going on with that. And of course, it found NFS is there, although it's not running. And I'm not running the server version. I was just running the client. That usually takes a while to run through that. Okay, so we got some results. Look like a pretty long list too. Oh my, 61. All that looks pretty normal. Banner, deleted files, keep alive, all my variables that need to be changed. I've got some protocols that are turned on in the mod database that need to be removed. This is all hardening stuff. Oh, I've seen this under, this is common with Raspberry Pis. They don't have a security listing, and Linus does not. You can whitelist it out if you know that the repository has security updates in it. But there's usually in Debian, there's a separate repo for security. That way, if you want to just apply security updates, you can. So yeah, you can comment out the updates to the other packages, but this doesn't have a separate. That's what it's complaining about. IB tables, yeah, it's installed, but it's not loaded. That's pretty common. That's just yellow suggestions, big deal. But I saw some red, a whole bunch of it go by. Red is bad. That's a warning. Oh my, that's not good. I don't think I've ever seen System D that's this wide open before. Now I turned that off, or did I? That's always the question. Did you actually turn off the service or not? Now this one, I know what these are. Accounts daemon, that's managing accounts for their cloud, I think. These two have to do with Deepin has their own accelerated file search. And so those two daemons allow it to accelerate the file searching process, which is a good thing. However, there is a couple of things that I'm kind of concerned about. I looked at the source code for those, and there are plugins. There's a plugin architecture for that, which, depending upon how nefarious the plugin is, now there isn't any installed by default. At least I don't know. I haven't checked on this system yet. I'll probably do a full look at the system and then let you know. Because I know that every time Deepin comes up, there's always concerns about security. And look and see if there are any plugins. You could potentially use that file accelerator as a way to exploit and extract data. So, and having a plugin architecture would certainly make that easy to do. However, I don't know that for a fact. I haven't seen any indication of that, and I'm not accusing them of doing that. Yeah, but I do know that that's what those two tools do. So I'm not too worried about those. Although I am worried about this kind of stuff. Our syslog is running and and you don't have any provisions to lock it down? Really? Probably running as root too, right? Let's see. Let's just see. Not running. It's not running. Oh, it's our log. Let's do that. It may not be running. It'll check to see if there's something, if there's a tool that's up. It'll look at the configuration files. It doesn't check to see if they're running or not. So if it's not running, who cares? I don't care. Yeah, it's not running. Okay, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll probably go through and do kind of a full check on the system, just to let you know. What else can I do? Now, there's a lot of keyboard shortcuts. There are keyboard shortcuts to create like a copy-paste buffer. And in there, you can have multiple copy-paste statements. Now, in Linux, by default, you only have one copy-paste buffer. So, but in this system, you have a list, and you can pick from that list which ones you want to copy from. So you can fill it up with a whole bunch of stuff, and then you can go in and click on the ones that you want. Kind of nice, kind of nice. And then there's keyboard shortcuts to get into the different environments or workspaces, and be able to do that as well. So if you were doing, I don't know, maybe you're doing desktop publishing, so maybe one workspace would be dedicated to desktop publishing, and maybe the other one would be dedicated to reading your email. So you could keep things kind of separate on the desktop and also in your mind. One thing I did want to check, let me get this out of the way and see if I can create, yeah, it looks like it. I can create a folder on the desktop. Nice. That's good to know. Good to know. All in all, I think I mean, like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not that paranoid about things like this. It is open source. People are going to look at it. They're going to look at the source code. They're going to read through it, and they're going to check it over. So am I worried about using it? No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I respect it, but I'm not worried about using it. So anyway, let's go close this out a little bit, and I'll go back to my my presentation here. Let me get this back up in full screen. Okay. Well, that didn't work out so good, did it? We'll jump back. Okay. So obviously, Deepin doesn't like to be installed on a virtual machine, and it does degrade performance. That's no question. When I was running on the NUC, it's very fast, very responsive. Native install it requires 64 gig. Now I don't know what they're referring to when they say 25 gig. I didn't see any other choices on the installer, so maybe that documentation is just old and hasn't been updated yet for Deepin 20. But it definitely wants 64 gig. And that is because of the recovery mechanism that's in it, that it has a breakpoint that allows you to save back to that point. And then it's not a snapshot, I don't think. I think it's actually a copy. So it actually flips it back in, and you can restore and keep running. Pretty nice. It's a nice feature, nice safety net to have. That's all I had today. I think I'll do some more work on it. I think I'll put it back on the hardware and do some testing. What I need to do is schedule one of these weeks where I just go back and do catch up on stuff, because I do go back, I do figure out stuff, I write it down. I haven't done a video on, here's the follow up on X, Y, and Z. But sometimes the comments in the video is a good place to do that too. So maybe I'll just do it there. Hope you enjoyed this today. And if you did, please like and subscribe. Hope to see y'all again real soon. Bye for now. Yeah, it's getting late for me.